Hello, today I'm going to talk through some drawing techniques that you can practice with your pin pen to create various tone, texture and depth. So I'm going to show you the techniques with the black pin pens because that's got a wide range of nib sizes and you can produce different line effects with that. So I'm just going to show you stippling, cross-hatching and free shading on this very simple line cone drawing that I've done. And I've done this with the 0.1 pin pen. So it's got a very fine line and you can see that that gives us scope to explore some various tonal techniques. So the first tonal technique I'm going to talk through is cross-hatching. And I'm going to use the 0.03 pen just to show you how fine we can create these lines. So just very, very simple diagonal lines. I'm just grouping them together. And I'm just cross-hatching here. So I'll show you on a larger area. And what I'm trying to do is already I'm creating some depth. So I'll just do this here so you get a better idea. Now I'm not creating a finished piece here. Well, I'm just using this piece to show off the different tonal techniques you can use. So you've got this one diagonal set of lines here, and then we can just bring these up to produce some depth. Now what I can do as well is the great thing about these pens I can build over there is that I can sort of start putting some lines up to create even more depth still. So I've got a sense of shadow here as I'm just leaving this area of my original cross hatching. So I can develop more depth, and I'll just do that here as well with the cross hatching. And I wanted to show you that with the very fine line, just to see that you can still create darkness and tone even with a very, very fine, the finest in fact, nib. So now I'm just going to talk you through a technique called stippling. So I'm going to use a range of nibs for that size. I'm going to use 02. I'm going to use an 02 and an 01, then I might go darker just to show you. So with stippling, it really is just dots. So I'm going to show you here with the 03. So I'm just creating a series of dots. As I say, this piece is going to look fairly strange, because what I would do normally is that I would use a range of techniques on this, and I would combine them together. So for example, there is a video that we have where I've used all of these techniques. I've incorporated all of these techniques onto a drawing of a wren, and that's on our YouTube channel. So I've done some dots here, and so you can see that if I just leave some space around the dots, that's fine. But what I can do is I can group the dots to create a tonal range, and I can also play about with a smaller nib. That was with the 02. If I said 03, I'm sorry, it's I think I might have said 03, so I do apologise, it was with the 02. So you can see already you've got a tonal range where I've combined the 01 and the 02. And you can produce quite a nice tonal range there. What I'll do is, again, just as with the cross hatching, I'll do that on a larger area so you can see. So again, I've got my 02 pen. So I'm grouping the dots where I want some more shadow. So I can work across there, so I can group. Also with this stippling technique, It's really nice because it's quite meditative. You're sort of working over and over again. So it's quite nice. So again, grouping there, and then I'm just working my way out. So I want to group where I know that there's going to be shadow and definition. And then I just want to then come out a little bit. So just the stippling grouping here. And then I'm going to use my 01 or 01 pen to just create a little bit more subtlety in that line, so you can see by just using the 2 nib sizes, and you can do that with any nib sizes, but yeah, I always kind of work large and small. That's my motto, but not so different that it's going to jar. So you can see that it's just my stippling with the smaller nib is just a little bit more subtle. So again, you can group, you can use that grouping, but then you can just work up. I can sort of work those up as well. It's quite a nice way of, you know, if you don't want anything too linear, it's quite a nice way of working. So the final technique that I want to just show you today is with a bit of free shading. So I'm going to take a 01 and I'm just going to very lightly and I'm using a light pressure here, but what I'm doing, as you can see already, where I'm going over it and over it, I'm building up the tone. So what I can do now is I can just apply medium pressure and I can create darker areas, and that's just with the 1 pen. So I can do that with different sizes. It will, now obviously with the different size nibs you'll get a different colour coverage. So let's try with a 0.3. So again, I'm being very light in my coverage. I'm using a very, very light pressure. And then I'm going to layer, apply a little bit of a harder pressure to create more. Here I'm being quite hard. Bottom, and then I can just I can layer that up. So that's a really nice way of producing some depth and tone. So there's the 3 ways that you can start practicing. So we've got free shading, cross hatching and stippling.